Medius links invoice capture, processing, and payment to replace the worry and wondering of managing AP with calm and confidence. This demonstration will show you how Medius turns a seemingly endless flow of manual paper and PDF invoices into a simple automated process by going beyond basic automation, using artificial intelligence to do most of the work. So invoices are coded, approved, and paid. AP teams get to go home and rest easy, and businesses can trust their budgets and forecasts. Sit back and watch to learn how.
So the system, it's a full suite of solutions, and of course, through role-based access, users are granted access to different parts of the product, different types of invoices, and of course, they can only perform tasks on those invoices that they role allow. So very granular control. So I logged in here as Amy, and for the purpose of demonstrations, Amy can pretty much do everything, but let's just dance across a solution. Here we've logged in, and Amy's presented with a home page that basically gives an at-a-glance view of what works on her schedule for today, split across these different document types, some configurable dashboard widgets, and some notification information here, a rich set of notifications across the system to keep the process moving in a clear way. Over here, again, through role-based access, the user can switch to different parts of the spend management suite. So today we'll be focused on the analytics and the AP automation and pay. The others are covered in other sessions. Before we jump into the transactional side of the product, let's just briefly look at the analytics. So these are out-of-the-box dashboards and analytics that overlay the data that's in Medius, meaning our customers don't have to go and spend time building these themselves. And that's very powerful. So different perspectives from an operational and finance perspective here. So at-a-glance views of invoices by type, so PO versus expense versus recurring, for example. Invoices by source, where you're certainly looking at moving your suppliers from paper through to PDF attachments, through to true e-invoicing, perhaps. So you can see how you're doing against that. And as an overview, an at-a-glance view of the workload across your team, so your internal staff, who's loaded up with what work to do. We choose this one here, Automation Insights. And we often use the traffic light approach, red, amber, green, to highlight those suppliers that are performing well, those that need attention, and those that are really at risk of causing problems. So excellent visibility for continuous improvement in the process. Then coupled with that, the finance perspective in terms of cash flow and net working capital impact. So multi-company, multi-country support here. And you get visibility and trending across open invoice amounts, posted and open invoices, aging buckets, AP closing trends, DPO trending, and so on, as you'd expect in a specialized solution. But again, out of the box. And for those customers who have negotiated payment terms, early payment terms with their suppliers, great visibility into captured and missed cash discount opportunities. So that will allow you to drill down and work out how you can better improve the capture of those available discounts. So terrific visibility out of the box laid over the full functioning system here. If we switch back to AP automation and take a look at the transactional side here, we'll touch on a couple of areas. So let's go take a look at the inbox. And the first part of the process is, of course, the invoice capture. We've got a very modern approach to this. We'll touch on it briefly here and open up an example where, although this may look familiar to anyone who's used a capture solution, we don't use kind of a template-based approach or positional approach. So we've got an advanced cloud approach that takes an OCR engine that takes everything off the invoice page, and then we apply all kinds of statistical analysis and algorithms behind the scenes to drive the highest level of touchless capture here. So what that really means for our customers is if we open up a more complex line, here we go. Even the more complex line level capture that's needed on the front end of the process to drive that touchless processing of PO-based invoices downstream, for example, we can manage that directly within the solution. So an important first step in the process, but one that causes many headaches for a lot of organizations out there who may be using kind of legacy template-based capture solutions. That's not the case here. Modern technology approaches to this. And it's not a mystery black box. We present to our customers exactly what's happening in the system in terms of confidence levels, automation levels for this particular supplier and how we can manage it. So again, continuing themes of continuous improvement in the solution, not a static product that stagnates in terms of your performance. So advanced invoice capture. If we take a look here now at the expense or non-PO invoices, this is where we can see different types of capability. So typically a user would want to see the invoice image on the left and various information on the right that's been captured from the invoice, so the header level information here, and then various tabs of information as the invoice is making its way through. It's important to realize as you glance at this that what we're walking through here can be fully automated. So we're showing you steps that can be automated, but you get just then to see what's happening under the hood. So here we've got the GL structure synchronized from the ERP securely. And in this case, we could have the system use automatic coding suggestions using AI technology to look at the historical coding of these invoices and provide it automatically. You might say, okay, I don't want to do that in this case. I want to go and take a lookup myself. So a numeric lookup would present the user with a restricted list of coding dimension values, providing that accurate coding support. And perhaps for the occasional coders, those folks who just occasionally need to code an invoice, a text lookup provides the same level of convenience and control. There are other capabilities in here where you could apply the latest coding from the most recently approved invoice for this supplier, or even browse out and go and take a look at various invoices and get some context around how you've been coding invoices for this supplier in the past. Or you could take advantage here. I will apply that latest coding, which is the automatic coding suggestion, which is saying, hey, route this to staff catering, code this as department 10, cost center 12, and it'll go to Penny Menendez for approval. So very convenient ways of having the system drive coding accuracy support, leading to that automatic coding and distribution. I've paused on this one too, though, because the system, the workflows across the platform have rich communication and collaboration capabilities. So sure, I could make some notes in here and make a comment. Part of the audit trail, part of the date stamp on the system there. Or I could send this off to review, send that off to Meredith. Hey, Meredith, I have some information. I need some information from you. Or there might be an occasional contributor to the process who's not normally involved in finance who has some information. So I might mention Peter Hamilton here. Was this Richard's lunch? They get a notification via email. They simply click on the link, brought into Medius. They can provide that information. So the whole process is smooth. The collaboration is terrific. And you're not chasing people down via email, telephone, or physically in a hallway. So terrific capabilities there. And when I distribute that invoice, it's often its very way to be approved. So fantastic capabilities on coding accuracy support, moving towards automatic coding and distribution, such that the first time a user might be intervening with an expense invoice would be a ping on their cell phone or desktop, and they get the coding lines to be approved. That's how efficient this can be. In the interest of time, if we switch back here to the inbox and change gears onto the purchase order-based side of the house, we can take a look at what's happening on a PO-based invoice. So, of course, line level capture, header and line level capture is imperative to drive that advanced matching above and beyond traditional 2- and 3-way match. This is a simple example where it's only 2 lines on an invoice from Kellistan. And if we collapse these different sections down, we'll take a look at what's happening under the hood in a second. So here we're at the line level, where the rubber hits the road. Show deviations, nothing's showing. Exactly. This could have been posted down to the ERP, approved without user intervention. We've paused it here in this final approval step, which actually means our customers have full control of the posting process, and the system can be easily configured by a business user, not IT, to identify a wide range of different scenarios where an invoice might need attention. It might be as simple as just a simple quality check against new members of staff, or there might be complexity in your process where you want to put it in front of one of your internal experts for a final review. So great control and visibility. In this case, if I show all the lines, we can see here that the invoice line captured from the invoice, regardless of how it was submitted, has been matched against PO and goods receipts from the ERP, or maybe from Medius' own procurement solution. And there's your traditional three-way match. All is good. In this case, though, there's an extra line on the invoice that was not on the PO. So many three-way match systems might bounce that into a queue, and AP have to chase the buyer. And how do you want to manage this? Again, because this is designed for finance and AP, we put in the hands of the business users the case of saying, hey, let's have the system identify a potential freight charge on this invoice. If it finds it, compare it to a $10 tolerance level. In this case, it's $8.44. So have the system automatically code that $8.44 to a specific GL such that the invoice is in balance, and that's why it can be posted, approved, ready for payment without intervention. So a simple but important example of how Medius, as a specialized AP automation solution, can drive those levels of touchless processing, particularly for PO-based invoices. Now, of course, in the real world, unless you have perfect suppliers fulfilling purchase orders perfectly and billing it perfectly, there are going to be deviations. So in that case, we could take a look at another example here quickly. Here we go. And in the case of a PO-based invoice, most often our customers would have that invoice bypass AP and be routed to the buyer responsible for the PO, for example. So here we can see an invoice where there's a unit price deviation and a quantity deviation. Those deviation types might also be routed to different users or roles. So the unit price might go to the buyer, and the quantity deviation might go to shipping, receiving. So great flexibility from these packaged best practice workflows. When we deploy this standard product in the cloud, we're going to dovetail into your accounting process. So here, if I'm the buyer, I click on the chevron and I'm being told, hey, we've been billed $54.33. We're expecting $49.99. There's a $4.34 deviation for a total deviation of $4.34. What do you want to do about it? Now, some customers might come here and email the invoice back to the supplier as part of the audit trail, saying, hey, we're rejecting this invoice, send us a corrected one. I'm not sure that has legs, but it could be a method. Other customers might need to go into the ERP and modify the purchase order because of inventory valuation impact considerations or pass-through billing or whatever it might be. Or they created the PO with the wrong price and you're going to get 5 more invoices. So a very pragmatic approach, specialized approach there, acknowledging and recognizing that's the real world our customers operate in. That data would be synchronized back in again, and then the invoice will be automatically matched and posted through. So really driving a pragmatic real world approach to true AP automation. In this case, if I just approve that, the buyer doesn't have to think or worry about how that's going to be posted. The system will manage that. And in terms of the quantity deviation, again, that might be shifted to the shipping receiving department, for example. Again, you've got full control of who it's going to. In this case, we've been billed for 4. We've only received 3. There's deviation of 1 for a total deviation amount of $165. What do you want to do with that? Many of our customers will enhance communication back to the supplier by saying some powerful message. Okay. And then we can actually create from all of the invoice lines that have been rejected by the various parties within your organization something we call an adjustment request, which would basically pull those lines together in a branded document and send that out to the supplier. So first of all, you have a excellent visibility into outstanding credits, and you can also capture that credit, track that credit, and associate it when it comes into the invoice PO and post downstream as one. So a terrific way of enhancing that kind of scenario, as well as, of course, being a true AP automation solution, fully managing the short pay instructions, for example, as well. That's how we can drive that kind of capability and automation in the system. In the interest of time, let me just hop back here. And Let's just quickly look at the payment process, because we're saying, hey, within the system, within the one solution, you can manage all of the stakeholders, whether it's AP, procurement, approvers, as well as those folks through a segregation of duties who are managing the actual payment execution. So if we switch across to pay, again, all within the same user experience, you can manage the tail end of the process too, as part of a fully managed service from Medius. So in here, you can take a look at any batches that are waiting approval. Of course, we can provide a whole range of approval capabilities across those payment batches. Once the payments are approved, we take those, we'll manage their payment execution and update both the ERP and Medius with the payment reference information. So all part of that seamless solution, that managed service configured within Medius. Come back to the queue here. So have capabilities around risk factors. So the system, on receiving the payment batch information, we can identify and track any kind of risk assessments where, hey, if there's been a change of details, let's flag that for attention. So specific ways of managing, problems there, reducing errors and reducing fraud. So a terrific solution to modernize the payment part of the process at the tail end of invoice to pay. If we switch back here to the AP automation side again, and within the solution, of course, a rich set of data, synchronized from the ERP, synchronized from within the Medius procurement solution, if you're having indirect spend, for example, there, and that payment information from the managed service, it's all in here for reporting. So we had a glimpse at the analytics, but reporting's important too here, of course. So I can come in here and take a look at various reports. If I open a report up, again, in the hands of a business user, they can edit and create these reports in a very intuitive way. The reports support all the various date ranges and filters that you'd expect, of course, as well as having in-report grouping, totaling, and filtering. So in this case, I'm grouped by supplier name, but now my AP process is running smoothly. Perhaps I spend some time doing some analysis. So let me group by my first coding dimension account, and then maybe filter down on my famous Department 10. So great visibility, and that provides the drill down capabilities you're looking at as well in terms of hitting a particular invoice that catches your attention. Within the system, not only are you getting the invoice image, you're getting the full context of the transaction, of course. And this unique link is posted to the ERP. So your ERP users typically can navigate directly from the ERP to Medius, not just for the invoice image, but for the entire view of the system there of the invoice transaction. Up here, we've got a handy dandy quick search that also provides capabilities around that. With that, you can see the various comments that have been made. You can see the coding information. You can see who approved it, the approval hierarchy. It's all in here as part of the audit trail, a detailed audit trail as you'd expect. Any attachments that were uploaded with the invoice as well. And then when it comes to the invoice details, you've got the voucher number would be updated here from the ERP as part of that handshake, as well as payment information, as you can see here. So end-to-end visibility from invoice receipt through to payment. So that's watchtower visibility across the entire process.